and I was gonna kind of do a little kind of grounding and anchoring session today. You can use a ball if you want to, and then in which case you could sit and place it under your foot, or you can stand on it. And if you haven't got a ball, maybe Fee is finding one, then let's see. Let's mute Fee. So to begin with, just kind of finding, and just start with one foot. And maybe grab a chair or something to hold if you're feeling a bit wobbly today. And you just kind of want to massage lightly the surface of your foot. So the whole surface of your foot. And staying just on that one foot, so don't change legs in between. And do use something to hold if you need it. And so just kind of lightly brushing the surface of your foot with the ball. And this is just to kind of wake up the connective tissue in the bottom. If you need in between to just take a break, if your leg that is standing gets tight, you can shake it out in between. And then we're going to find the middle of the foot and kind of squeeze down into the middle of the foot and then kind of lift it up. And squeezing down and lifting up. So staying on that right foot to begin with and just pressing down into the right and then releasing it for a few rounds in the middle of your foot. And release it again, maybe give your standing leg a shake out, but don't switch legs. So bring the ball to the ball of your foot and then squeezing it down the middle of your foot towards the heel. And you're just going to do that for a few rounds. So ball of the foot squeezing down to the heel and then kind of lightly pull it back towards the ball of your foot. And you want to do that for a few rounds. And then you want to get the line kind of on the inside of your foot. So kind of bringing the ball to the big toe. And then squeezing down towards the inside of your foot and pulling it back. All the way to the heel, don't forget the heel. And then you're going to do the same on the outside, kind of the little toe edge of the foot. Squeezing down towards the heel and lightly roll it back. And then this time, again, shake out your standing leg and your hips. And then again, coming back to the right foot, pressing a little bit harder wherever you feel like. So whichever surface of your foot. And again, release it for a moment. Shake out your left leg one more time. And then very finally, again, the very little light scribbles, maybe even lighter, kind of just rolling very lightly over the surface of your foot. And then just leave the ball. Take a moment to really feel both your legs standing up fairly straight and see if you notice a difference. And it is likely that you'll feel quite a big difference. Maybe one foot feels lighter, maybe one foot feels like it's deeper into the ground. So just making an awareness, a photograph of that feeling. And then we will do the other foot. So placing the ball on the other foot, so your left foot, and again, kind of begin to just cover the surface of your foot, feeling and awakening the sole of your foot with the ball, and just feeling into and then give it a quick shake out of your standing leg, although maybe because that one is a bit warmer, it needs less. Then finding the middle of your foot and squeezing down and lifting up. Just squeezing down and lifting up and doing that for a few rounds. Middle of your foot. And then you're going to bring the ball to the ball of your foot, or shake out your standing leg if you need to in between. Nice to do. Ball, and then kind of going to the middle line of your foot to your heel. So from the ball of your foot squeezing down to your heel. And then releasing it back to the ball of your foot. And this is really a bit deeper, maybe even slightly painful or an unusual feeling. Don't really want it to hurt though, so taking off the pressure if you're going too hard on it. But quite good for anyone with plantar fasciitis. When you have very hard skin, and to just generally kind of wake up the connective tissue in your foot so that you can feel more grounded, more anchored. So then you're going to go to the inside of your foot, the middle kind of instep, the medial edge from the ball of your foot on the inside towards your heel, the arch, heel arch really, I should say. And then to the outside, so the little toe edge, squeezing down on the lateral side of your foot towards the heel and back. One more time. Give it a little shake out. And then scribbling, massaging, scribbling your foot lightly, covering the surface of your foot. For a wee while. If you find any new areas, maybe roll over that. And then, again, release it. Feeling into both your feet. Take a moment there. Then you are going to place your hands on your thighs for support. You're going to tuck your chin into your chest. You're gonna roll down a little bit, and if you find your back gets a bit stuck, you can tuck out your tailbone and kind of fold forwards. And if you find that your spine is fine, you can roll down and use your hands on your legs for support to roll down until you get to tuck out your tailbone, so kind of stick out your bum, but bend your knees and let your upper body fold onto your legs. And then slowly begin to walk your hands forwards onto your mat and your feet back onto your mat and get your knees on the floor. And then move your ball to one side. Coming onto hands and knees, and just take a moment to kind of wiggle out and curl and shake and feel where it is stiff. Moving into that area. I'm trying to move freely and gently and juicily. And then taking a few more steps forwards on your mat if you are quite in the middle of your mat. Untuck your toes and then begin to extend your right leg behind you. Tuck your right toes under and kind of reach into your right heel for a few rounds. Now, if you find that your wrists get sore and you need to do it on your elbows, you can also do it on your elbows because we're really doing this for the leg. And if your wrists are fine, or you can do a mix between, but you're kind of just stretching out or breathing into that back foot, heel, Achilles. And then you're gonna just turn the heel in, but keep your body as it is, and just have a little stretch here into your right hip a little bit. Have a little breath there. Then you're gonna turn your leg back in so that your leg is parallel again, and again do little rocks, toes, heel. And then again, turn the heel in so that your toes are turned out, kind of. And you're slightly pushing your weight into your right hip. So you're getting a little hip release there. And then turn your leg back in. And again, little heel rocks. And then one last time, your heel turns in towards the middle. Your toes are turned out towards the side of your mat. You're pushing slightly into your right hip. And then you're going to release it all together. Maybe come onto your forearms this time and do the same thing, kind of explore maybe little circles, maybe little squiggles, maybe little shakes, but quite gently. Feeling into the areas where you feel tight and where you're holding. Trying to release it. And then coming back onto hands and knees, and we're going to move into the left leg. So your left leg extends, the left toes are tucked, and you're reaching into your left heel and then kind of pulling the weight slightly forward. So you're doing these little rocking motions for a few rounds. Massaging the Achilles, the heel. And then you're going to turn your left heel in towards the middle. Your left toes are pointing to the outside edge of your mat. You're slightly pushing your weight into your left hip. And have a breath there. And then you're going to turn the leg back in. And you're going to rock forwards and backwards. So the leg is parallel again now. And then again, you're going to turn your leg out, but your heel in. So your heel is landing in the middle. Your toes are pointing towards the outside, and you're slightly pushing your weight into your left hip. Have a breath there. And then turn your leg back in. So you're back into a long line. like parallel little rocks forwards and backwards, and then one last time. Turn the heel in, push into the left hip, take a breath there, maybe even to the left shoulder or rib cage, wherever you feel tight. Inhale and then release again. On hands and knees, and then moving onto your elbows and forearms, and just little wiggles with your pelvis, with your head, with your neck, with your shoulders. So in between you get to release, you get to undo. And then we are going to tuck the toes, both your toes, get your hands back underneath yourself, maybe slightly towards the front. And then you're going to lift your knees up and off the floor, and you're going to come into a little downward dog and just stretch out one leg at a time. So bend one knee and straighten one, and then change. And you're kind of treading through your feet. Your heels don't have to come to the floor. But the aim is to just stretch out one leg and then the other. At this point, don't worry too much about what your downward dog looks like. We're just exploring here, being upside down. And then you want to slowly walk your feet back towards the middle, and maybe your hands slightly back towards your feet. Get your feet really underneath yourselves, get your belly really to your thighs. Place your hands on your legs, on your thighs. Once again, you could roll up, or if your back is a bit fragile, lengthen your spine. And then coming up to stand. Then take a moment to just close your eyes. Inhale and exhale. And then a bit like we did earlier with the legs, you're just going to rotate out your arms. And then you're going to rotate them in. And so just moving your arms at this point, your arms are rotating outwards, so that the kind of inner side of your elbows pointing outwards. And then you're letting them roll back in, and maybe even really turn them in. And then rotating them out and in for a few rounds. And as you're doing that, you can start to begin to play in with your shoulders, kind of letting the front chest open and squeezing the shoulder blades in towards each other as your arms are rotated outwards. And then you're going to slowly rotate your arms inwards, maybe even let them slightly come forward and round into your upper back a little bit. So you want to keep your weight evenly in your feet, chest opens as you rotate your arms, squeezing shoulder blades together. You're going to just stay here a little bit, and you're going to slightly push your arms outwards and then slightly pull them back in towards each other. So just a little bit of movement, arms kind of going outwards and slightly in. And by out, I mean out to the outsides, to the sides, and pull them in. One more time. And then you're going to release and round your spine, let your arms rotate inwards. Round your spine a little bit, maybe even bend your knees a little bit. Stay there for a moment. And then same thing, you're going to slightly push your arms or your hands slightly forwards, and then pull everything back in. So you're kind of doing this little movement like that. And curling it in and then release. Be like a jellyfish. Just let everything kind of be soft and fluffy. Shake out whatever legs, whatever you can shake. And then almost imagine that you are in salty water and you can breathe magically. And you're just kind of moving around in this water and you feel quite contained. And you're just slowly swimming and floating and gliding. And if you feel like, actually my hip is a bit tight or my lower back, and you want to just move in and out of this lovely salty water, feeling quite contained and making these little maybe spiraling movements. And you can play around with this idea of opening through your chest and closing. And although you are floating, your feet are on the ground and you feel quite grounded through your legs. But everything else is allowed to float and swim. Then you just want to find your feet. We are out of the water, back into the air, and you're just going to spiral a little bit and let your arms be quite carousel-like, and your legs are quite strong and quite contained, and being mindful of the lower back, but letting these little spirals, these little circles. And then at the same time, close your eyes. Begin to stay and maybe even make your feet a little bit bigger. Kind of stretching, shifting weight into one leg and stretching the other. Being mindful of your knees. And breathe. Then you're going to make your knees or feet even wider and bend your knees quite deeply. You can have your hands on your knees and kind of play around with shifting weight into one leg and then into the other. And then again, important that you keep mindful of your knees kind of always going in the same line as your toes. And maybe you want to go quite deep. Maybe your legs are really tight and you cannot. But you can have your weight downwards on your knees. And you want to try and keep your spine quite long. So your spine is quite long. If you feel able, you could move your hands onto the floor. And then you could play around with shifting into one leg and straightening the other. You might even like to add the kind of spiraling to one side and turning the leg that is straight in. So you're kind of in a bit of a lunge. And then turning the foot out, turning this foot slightly in, and then going to the other side. So shifting weight into one leg, spiral into that side, let the straight leg turn in, and so you're in a bit of a lunge. You could do that for a few more rounds. And then you want to slowly begin to heel toe your feet together and get them really underneath yourselves. Get your hands onto your thighs. And then either roll up or with a long spine, if your back is a bit fragile, you can come up to stand. Give everything a big shake out again. Shake out your arms. Shake out your legs. Then we want to do a few little squats. So you're going to have your feet a bit wider than your hips. You can have your hands together in front of your chest, in front of your heart maybe, or maybe even hands on your heart. And you want to go down and then coming back up. And we're just going to go down and up for a few rounds. And however low you can manage, doesn't have to be very low. And try and keep thinking of your spine long. Going down. You're going to use your arms when you come up and bring them back. And then pull them in. And bring them back, and maybe even rotate them out. And then bring them back in. And a few more. Rotate, squeeze elbows or shoulder blades together. Bend. Squeeze. Bend. Squeeze. Two more. Squeeze. Bend. Squeeze, then bend. Stay down. Stay here, maybe rest your elbows on your knees. Stay there for one more breath. And then slowly again begin to place your hands onto your knees, square your feet. Really long spine. Think of bending, keeping your knees quite bent, but thinking of lengthening your spine out. And then coming into chair pose. So you're going to have the weight into your heels slightly. You're going to lengthen out your spine. Maybe this is where you're going to be. Maybe you want to lift your arms up. Staying here, you want to go and breathe. Deep breaths. One more deep breath, and then slowly come all the way up. Circle your arms wide. And then shake. And breathe. Shake out your legs. Shake out your arms. Shake everything out. We are going to come and do a little balancing pose, so hands on hips. You're going to shift your weight slightly into your left leg, and your right leg is going to lift off the floor. You're going to turn your right leg out. You're going to bring the foot to your ankle. You want to find something on the floor to focus on. And if you're struggling with balance, keep your toes on the floor, but try and think of pushing your left foot into the floor, so that's your anchor, and then growing tall from out of that foot. If you can remove your foot, you might like to bring it up towards your knee, or maybe even inner thigh. And then you want to think of keeping your hip bones to the front, and then rotating from the inside. If you want to, you can bring your hands to your heart. If you want to, you can lift your arms up towards the sky. And I like to separate them slightly. And think of pressing left foot down and lifting everything else away from the floor, staying here. And then slowly release everything back down. Shake. Jellyfish, octopus arms, or just shaking in between. And then again, round. Not close your eyes because we need them. You're going to bring your hands to your hips and focus on the spot on the floor in front. Shift your weight into your right. Turn your left leg out and place it towards your ankle. The left toes can stay on the floor if it helps you to balance. If you can manage, take the toes away from the floor. If you can manage, you can bring it to your knee or keep your leg low. You can work it. So hip bones to the front and kind of using the inner thigh to kind of help open the knee out. The hands coming together in front of the heart or arms up by your ears. And then I like to think of spreading my arms a little bit so that my shoulders can be down and my neck long. And then stay here, and you're gonna breathe. You're gonna imagine the right foot shooting the anchor down into the ground, and at the same time, you're growing really tall out of the floor. Hold it for one more breath. And then release. And shake. So if you are feeling wobbly today and you want to use a surface to hold on to, you are going to shift your weight into your left foot. You're going to place your right ankle on your left knee. And you're going to bend your left knee a bit. You want to think of stretching the seat slightly back. And so if you need to use something to hold on to, like a wall, but then you can't see me, like that, you can. And you want to just have a little stretch there, stretching out the right glute, which can really be helpful for alleviating lower back pain. Have a quick stretch in there. Release it. Give it a shake out. And then doing the same on the other side. So right foot pressing down, left ankle on right knee. Bending down, use the wall if you need to, or a chair. Folding and breathe. Stretch that whole left glute side out. The left hip, which can be so helpful in alleviating back pain. Release, shake in between. And then we are going to do a flying warrior. You are going to shift your weight into your left foot. You're going to pick up your right knee and keep it parallel. You want to squeeze it in and really feel the root shooting down into your left foot. If you need to, use the wall on the side. Should have said that before, or chair. And then you're going to shift your weight forwards. Your arm is going to extend forwards and your leg is going to shoot back. And you have a flying warrior, maybe holding onto a wall or chair if you need to for support. And then breathing here. The leg is parallel. You might need to bend your left knee a little bit. Have a breath there. You're going to slowly pull it back up. You're going to squeeze the leg back in. Hold it there. Release. Shake it out. Shake out your glutes, your thighs, front hips. And then the other side. So maybe again you need to use a wall. You're going to hug the knee into your chest, squeeze it in. Breathe there. And then you're going to slowly fold. Upper body goes forward. Arms go forward or hold the wall or a chair, and the leg goes back. Staying there. Maybe you need to bend your right knee a little bit to find length. Inhale, exhale. One more big breath. And then release. Again. Shake it out. Roll your shoulders. And have a breath. Then again, your feet a little bit wider than your hips. We're going to go down. We want to go as low as you can manage. And have a little breath there. A little sit. In your chair. Not in your chair. It's kind of like a potty pose. Into your squat, is what it's called. And then you want to release, and we're going to come down onto the back. So you want to make your way down to the floor and hug your knees into your chest. You want to just maybe do tiny little rolls from one side to the other. And then resting your hands on your knees, you're gonna do little circles. And how big the circles you can decide, they could just be teeny tiny. And maybe explore really making tiny, tiny circles. And then make them slightly bigger. And then make them pretty big. And reverse. Finishing with the teeny tiny circles. Then you want to fold your arms out to the sides. You're going to let your toes find the floor carefully. Then you're going to press your left foot down into the ground and place your right ankle on your left knee. You want to slightly push or use muscular effort to help move the knee to the right and then pull it back in. And you're just going to do that movement for a few rounds. So you're kind of pushing the knee towards the right and forwards and then pull it back in. Then you're going to add lifting your left foot off the floor. You're going to have your left shin approximately parallel to the floor. And then you're going to let your left ankle, foot, and right knee kind of come towards each other, almost. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere near each other, but in the direction of each other, and then slightly pull them away from each other. So the left lower leg is kind of coming in towards the right, and the right knee is going to come towards the right front, and then they're going to release and come back to kind of starting position. And you want to do that for a few rounds. And you might even like to move the left lower leg all the way to the left, depending on your range today. And you're going to do that a few rounds. Then you want to slowly release your left foot back on the floor. You're going to let your knees roll towards your right. Your right ankle stays on the outside of your left leg. And if you find your left knee is sore like that, you can place your right foot underneath and to the floor. So either way, have a breath there. If your foot went to the floor, then you can lift your foot back up and place it to the outside without pushing down. Then you're going to bring your knees back to the center and let them roll to the left. And this time, you're going to be mindful of your right shoulder and your right knee and right hip. If again you find it too intense, you can release and bring your right foot and slide it down the shin towards your left foot and kind of snuggle it on top. And then have a breath there. If you like the kind of pretzel feeling, then stay where you are for one more big breath. Should have said your head is to the opposite shoulder as your knee is pointing, so towards your right. Let's stay here for another deep breath. Then you're gonna slowly untangle your legs and you're gonna extend them down along the floor and lie flat for a moment. And breathe and see what you feel. Then you're gonna walk your feet back in. Arms back down by your sides and place your left ankle on your right knee. And do the same thing. You're slightly pulling or pushing your left knee towards the left and forwards. And then let it slightly come back to starting position. And doing that for a few rounds, being mindful of the position of your pelvis and your hips. Then you're back in neutral. You're going to slowly float your right leg off the floor, right shin parallel to the floor. Pull it slightly in, and then you're going to do the same thing. So your left knee is going to come in towards the left, and the right lower leg is going to come towards your left knee. And then you're going to come back to starting position. And you're going to do that movement for a few rounds. So the right lower leg is kind of moving in towards the left and then coming back to starting position. And you're doing the same with your left knee. It's slightly coming towards the right foot and then releasing. So it's quite active. You're slowly pressing in towards each other and then releasing away from each other. One more. You're finding neutral, you're going to slowly float your foot back down to the ground. Your arms spread wide. You're going to let your knees roll to your left. Carefully. If you find this bothers your right knee, you can float the foot, your left foot off the right knee and kind of slide it underneath to the floor. And stay like that. If you were enjoying the pretzel, stay with the pretzel. And once you're here, you can slowly begin to bring the foot back. You're going to bring your knees back to the center. Assess. Then let your knees go to the other side, so towards your right. Again, if knee is bothersome, you can slide your left foot off from behind and slide it down along your shin to meet your right foot and then snuggle it there. Let your head roll away from your knees, so towards your left. If you were enjoying the pretzel feeling, keep the foot behind the knee and breathe there. Then you're going to slowly untangle your legs once again and lie flat on your back. Take just a deep breath in and a deep breath out. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathe all the way out and hold your breath. Close your mouth at the end of your exhale. When you need to breathe in, take a big breath. And out through your nose. One more time, a big breath in through your nose and then out through your mouth, finishing the whole exhale. Then close your mouth and hold your breath. Until you feel the impulse to take a breath in and out through your nose. Take a breath in and out through your nose for a few rounds. Then you're going to slowly roll onto your left side. And then you're going to slowly make your way up to sit. You want to find a comfortable position. You want to be snuggled up. You want to close your eyes. You want to grab some warm things so that you are cozy. You can sit on the sofa. You can sit on a chair. If you are sitting on the floor, it's quite useful to have something underneath your seat so that your hips are a little bit higher than your knees, so that your hip flexors don't have to work so hard. And once you've arrived in your optimum position, take a breath. Breathing in and out of your nose. Keep your mouth soft, your lips gently together, and the tip of your tongue resting behind the tips of your teeth, the top of your tips of your teeth. You're going to try and take some refined breaths, as if you're trying to breathe in finer particles of whatever it is that you need for today. And as you exhale, you want to let the air filter all the way down and let it anchor you down to the earth. So a refined breath in, kind of trying to breathe, absorb finer particles of whatever energies it is that you need for today. And as you exhale, you want to let those finer particles spread down into your body and allow yourself to be anchored through your seat. And these little finer particles could be things like being more present to yourself, more self-belief, thoughts, wisdom, remembering to remember. And so taking a moment to really absorb and taking a moment to awaken all the inner faculties which help or which enable you to realign with all those different qualities. So that you can go through today and through the week with more presence for yourself, how you're feeling, with more wisdom that you can share with the world around you. With more love. With more understanding. With more focus. Take one more nice refined breath. And then slowly begin to release any kind of forced breathing, and see if you can allow your body to return to a natural breath rhythm. Softening into your belly, unlocking your jaw, feel your connection to earth. And place your hands maybe together in front of your heart, over your heart, or wherever else in your belly. To help you remember to remember. To undo, to release tension when it arises. And bowing your head to your heart and bow your head to your gut. Bowing your head, your mind, your intellect down to the heart, to the emotional, and to the instinctive. And open your eyes when you feel ready to. Thank you. Have a lovely day.